as a way they want to join, but we've got no space for them. So,
that's hard.
yeah, it is a bit harsh, especially if they've not been able to join a club, because it's not just the act of swimming, it's all the other social benefits as well. You know, social interaction, particularly important for the young people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Still fighting the good fight, Jane, I'm having to do, unfortunately.
Get there. It doesn't stop.
I don't know if I'll ever get there.
Yeah, I think, you know what, there's a lot more networking happening now, and you're a lot more visible now. So I think the possibility of, you know, it all coming together over the next little while, and actually the club being more recognized locally will be fantastic.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for signing in. We might expect a few more people over the morning. I'm sure they'll sign in as we proceed. The first speaker is Sally Smith from
Hounslow Chamber of Commerce.
Hounslow Chamber of Commerce. Have you able to share your screen? Or
yeah, I've never done this before, so it's all going to be quite interesting. Let's have a look. Hold on. Right, is that looking good?
Fantastic.
Hold on, let me just...
Okay. Sally, before you start, can we just remind everyone to put your sound off so that Sally isn't interrupted by background noise? Thank you.
Right, hold on. So can you, hold on, is that on, that's not on your screen, is it? You can't see that, can you?
Yes, we can.
Oh, brilliant, super duper. Right, now I have to make it full screen. I think it's that one. Brilliant, okay.
Perfect.
Right, away we go. Okay, right, Kickstart. I think, yeah, we can all read, but just to go through this very quickly, it provides, the simple rationale behind the scheme is it provides funding to employers to create new 6-month job placements for young people aged 16 to 24, currently on universal credit and at risk of long-term unemployment. The employer has to be a registered company and been trading for 12 months and uses PAYE. And when they apply, they have to put their registered address, even to the extent of limited, using the correct spelling of limited, LTD, or in full, depending what they registered is. DWP do a company's sort of house check on everybody. Initially, those with under 30 placements, so say a big company like GSK, sorry, those with over, people with over 30 placements initially could apply direct, and those with under 30 had to go via a gateway. At the end of January, it changed. So everybody, if they want to, can just go straight to DWP and apply direct. DWP then realised they were being inundated by small companies making huge numbers of phone calls. So they still recommend the use of a gateway, and Hounslow Chamber is a gateway. Sole traders, they need to apply via Adecco, FSB, and the information is there. I've also just heard that Reed are working with the British Chambers of Commerce. So if you're a sole trader, you have to go via Adecco or Reed. And basically, Adecco and Reed employ the young person, and then the DWP refunds them, and then the money goes back to the sole trader. Do you see what I mean? Right, the young people, they get a 6-month placement, national minimum wage, 25-hour week. So basically it gives them work experience and supports them to develop their employability skills. For the employer, you obviously get an extra person. You get a £1,500 grant for, paid in week 1, but this is government money, so you have to justify where you've spent it. This can be spent on a laptop or uniform, and also to help with the employability wraparound training. We as a chamber, we do recommend a company that we use. Hold on, let's do the next slide. Right, so how it works is The gateway, which is us, we put a bid into DWP. DWP assess it. They say it's a 4-week turnaround. It's beginning to be a 4-week turnaround. Initially, it was about 3 months. But it is, you know, it's a new system and it's taken quite a long time to embed. But it is getting quicker. And then the gateway is notified of the outcome. If the company is refused, basically it's just like the computer says no. DWP aren't very good at giving you the reasons why, but I'm beginning to work out. You have to have enough team members within each company to actually give the young person a meaningful experience. So you have to have the right ratio. DWP haven't told me what the right ratio is, but I'm beginning to sort of work it out a bit myself. So it's very much work in process. So then the recruitment side, the placements are listed on the Job Centre Plus system. JCP work coaches match the young person with the applications. The employer does the recruitment process and the employer decides on the outcome. It all sounds quite good on paper, but the young people are not mandated to apply for the jobs. The work coach can recommend a job to them, and then that will be classed as a referral. But there's, as I say, that the young person doesn't have to apply for it. He'll say, "Oh yes, that sounds lovely," but when push comes to shove, he doesn't do it. So it's basically, yeah, that's where the system falls down a little bit. And then the young person, they have to actually be given training. So the £1,500 can go towards some of this training. A lot of the employers are confident to do this themselves, but for those who are not, we supply basically one of our chamber members gives online training, and there are 3 sort of tranches for this. So we pass the £1,500 grant to the employer. It's up to the employer how the money is spent, but they must be able to show how it has been spent, because DWP could well do some checks later on, because this is government money. So as I say, it could go towards a laptop, uniform, and some of the wraparound training. And we're using CPG, and the prices are there. And it is a huge amount of hard work from a gateway's point of view, because a system of this magnitude usually takes 18 to 24 months to implement. They've been doing it in, you know, this only started in September of last year, so it really is work in progress. But at the end of the day, we are helping the young people, and this is a lovely quote from one of our from one of our employers, which I thought I should end with. And those are my contact details. So please do, let me know if we can help you at all. Does anybody have any questions?
Sally, hi. I'll have a question.
Yeah.
I know what your answer is, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's parole.
Yes, parole.
So it can. You said it's got to be a limited company. It can't be a registered charity.
You can't. Charities can apply as well, but you don't. Okay. You just put your charity number down.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
But you have to be using PAYE.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else?
I think Mukesh has got a question about the age group.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't use the electronic hand, so I'll put it in the chat box. I just confirming with you in terms of the age group, is it restricted up to say 24, 25, or?
It's 16 to 24.
Definitely that, you
can't be
anything else. Okay.
And a lot of businesses are sort of saying, we know of somebody, a neighbour's son who would be ideal, but you can't. That the young person has to come via the job centre. They have to be on universal credit.
So can I just follow up that question? Is that
yes.
We within some of the organisations I work with, many of them are within the Care Leavers project, where London Borough of Hounslow still has a kind of has to look after these young people until they're about 24.
Yeah.
Would these individuals be allowed to apply for this, or do they have to be just on, because if you're in the Care Leavers project, you might get universal credit, and you might not. There might be something else which the local authority gives. That's why I'm just curious about whether Care Leavers could apply for it as well, because these will be either children who have been in care with the local authority, or they may be all registered orphans, and the local authority still has a statutory responsibility to look after these young people.
A good question, Rakesh, and I'm going to be totally honest, I don't know the answer. I've got to jump off this meeting for 11, where I'm having a meeting with DWP, so I will ask that question and I'll come back to you.
Thank you for that, because I think that's quite an important one, because in Hounslow we have, I think, if I can remember the last number, is 397 young people who come under the Care Leavers project.
Okay.
And I know that Christmas time we did 150 parcels for these young people, food parcels, but we couldn't give to all of them. So if you wouldn't mind checking, and then because we're doing some project work both in Richmond and in Hounslow with young people, and this may be an opportune moment for them.
Okay, leave it with me and I'll come back to you.
Any more questions for Sally?
Sally, could I ask something? Hi, you know, I know that you can only access the placements through the DWP, so you can't, a young person can't apply directly to an organization to become their Kickstart employee. Is there any way that an organization can advertise that they're part of the Kickstart program to encourage young people to speak to their coaches and perhaps get onto their programs?
Again, I will speak to DWP. I don't see why not. You know, I think the more publicity the scheme wants, I mean, the government wants, at the moment, as I say, it's had huge teething problems. For example, I had my applications numbers 3 and 4. It took 3 months for DWP to give me approval. And in that time, quite a number of my employers, they'd forgotten they'd applied, that they got fed up with waiting. So in that, I lost 22 placements. So, so I think the government is very keen to promote this scheme. So Hounslow Chamber will be running a webinar maybe in May or June to sort of promote the scheme again. But at the moment, I want to feel more confident to bed it down. DWP are not being, you know, there are huge teething problems. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think that's interesting. Do you know at the moment how many young people are actually on the scheme in Hounslow?
In Hounslow, all I can speak is from our gateway. At the moment, I've got 58 companies going through my books, actually employing their first young person. So it's. I mean, I don't have that figure, I'm afraid. It was. I mean, the government was talking about huge numbers, and at the very beginning of the scheme, I mean, there was only like 1,800. You know, nationwide had been put on it. So as I say, there's huge teething problems. But when it works, it's really good.
And when it works, what is the expected kind of timeline from applying as a company or an organization to actually receiving your first young person?
Right.
As an employee?
Yes. Okay. It is getting quicker. I'm going to say 6 to 8 weeks, and it is getting quicker all the time.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. Yes. At the moment, yes. People are appointing, employers are appointing people from my application number 5, which went in sort of March time.
That's very encouraging.
Yes. So it is getting quicker. But DWP are paying me lots of money, and they're not telling me who the money's for. So that's my problem. I've got to work out where all this money tallies up. So as I say, there are teething problems. And the rationale behind the scheme is that hopefully, once that the employer has trained this young person to the level they want, that they'll actually keep them on at the end of the 6 months. That they'll find money to employ them. I mean, that is hopefully how it's going to work.
Yeah. And anybody interested in participating can contact you direct?
Yes, please, just use my mobile or email.
Okay.
And I can send more information. There is quite a lot of information, and please do try to read it, because it does all make sense. But a lot of my employers, I'm beginning to realize, haven't actually read what I've sent them. So you just have to explain it the whole time, that basically the DWP pays us as the gateway, we then reimburse them. That's how it works.
Okay.
And I think this was all set up so DWP wouldn't have to be dealing with lots of small companies, even though they then changed the system in February to say that they would like to. But I think they soon realised that no, they can't cope with the amount of queries they were getting.
It's very interesting.
And I'll circulate the slides to people who's got your contact details on there as well.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So I shall
Thank you very much.
I'll stop sharing screen, and then I will jump off because I've got to prepare for my next meeting. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Sally.
Thank you very much, and good to see you all. Okay.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you, Sally.
Bye bye.
We now go to our next speaker, who is Taz from Heston Big Local.
Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. It's nice to see a few of sort of familiar faces here, so it does make me happy, and I hope everybody's having a good morning so far. So I've been invited by Ian and to come along and do a short presentation for those who have not heard of Heston West Big Local before. I know a few have, so I'm just gonna quickly share my screen. We can go through it together. So I hope you guys can hear quite well. So nice to see everybody. Good morning. So Heston West Big Local, we are a community or group that started about 2014, 13-14, and it got funded by the Big Local, a £1 million over a 10-year program, and we're now in edging towards year 6, so 6 years into our program. And we're focused mainly in the area of Heston West, which is in Hounslow, which is quite close to Hillingdon, Ealing, and also obviously in Hounslow. So it's quite an interesting project. And so far to date, we've engaged with over 2,000 sort of residents. And I'm just going to go through a few things. So our organisation is about creating opportunities for local people to live healthier and happier lives. We have several themes in our groups, so we work towards obviously happiness, health and well-being, community activities. We do events and focus a lot on young people, and we're developing a community garden, which I'll touch upon very shortly. And then we have sort of sub-themes that we want to encourage people and open their eyes to new opportunities, tackle isolation, work with those hard to reach groups, really promote intergenerational volunteering, promote our story, create a effective network, and inclusive and diversity is our approach. So we're based obviously Heston West, which is by Cranford Community College, which is the nearest big school in the area. So we work quite a lot with young people, students and families as well. So it's going down. So we do a lot of community engagement over the years. Obviously, during this pandemic, it's been, as you all know, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but we have continued with our engagement. So we've done things which I'll touch upon very shortly. Our food project, our food bank program, which has been an amazing thing that we have achieved, but we still continue to do things like community cleanup days, which I'll touch upon shortly, as well as other activities we've done pre-pandemic, like outdoor theatre, cooking clubs. We do intergenerational walking football, which invites people of all ages and all abilities to come together, because lots of residents in our area who live in flats or high-rises accommodation are unable to play in their own gardens or have any garden space. So the walking football has proved to be quite popular. And we also do things like film club, and during the course of the pandemic, been working online doing our community podcast, which a few of you here have been a part of, with a young lad called Tariq Murad. He's been quite an inspiration in our community in the last year or so. So we do community engagement. As I said, we do community cleanups, and we haven't stopped even during the pandemic. As soon as restrictions were slightly eased, we did try to continue with our community cleanups. And as we learn that there is a lot of in our area, a lot of fly tipping, especially in the Cranford and Heston part. Of course, they're across London and obviously Hounslow, but we work in partnership with groups like Heston Action Group and other local groups to help really get volunteers together and mobilise and clean the streets. Hopefully it does inspire our community, and we have done quite a lot in the space of the last few years, but of course more needs to be done with the community cleanups. We also did during the course of the pandemic, we did a consultation to find out a little more about volunteers and people in our community. And just to summarise up that many people in our area, I'll send this across to you by Ian, but so many people in our area are involved with our community group, who live in the area. Some actually volunteer who work in the area or are students. As you can see, I know I'll obviously be sending across to you by Ian shortly so you can read it properly. And we have lots of people who participate, children as well. But the most sort of startling things really is how we've been most affected by the coronavirus, we asked. And people come back to us with reduced income and employment, which I'll go on about a bit later, and also mental health is the big ones, which I'm sure we all can probably agree on those ones. But it was interesting to get that sort of answer through our consultation. And also the main concerns that we had in our community was, again, employment, and surprisingly meeting people. I said surprisingly because people just wanted to get out and about and meet people and be social, because I think in our area it's a very social community, so people do want to get together. There's quite a lot. And also touching upon our legacies, so part of Big Local, one of our goals is to create a legacy at the end of the program. And it's come to the conclusion that lots of people wanted us to develop our own community garden and cafe as a way to celebrate the success or celebrate our story and journey, but also put together a one-stop shop as well, which is a signposting service for our community, especially those who have been unable to tap in online and access information like on Zoom or other ways or through the council or forums and websites. So we're going down. So here are some of the activities that we consulted on, and our youth film club has been quite the flagship program. So we developed lots of films and documentaries and short stories on our film club, which if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see. It's been a great way to engage with the young people, been given projects by the council and other organizations been funding us to actually sort of develop films for them as well, which has been incredible for our young people. We also do things like creative mum clubs, where mums get together and have a little bit of a chat and support each other through creative activities. And it seemed the most popular ones were those ones at the top. Going forward after the coronavirus and pandemic, we'll be particularly focusing on the activities that people really want to see in our area. It's a one-stop shop. I'm not sure how long I've got left. I'm assuming I've got another 6 minutes left or something. But the Helpful Hub, we just got funded by the council to deliver a volunteer-led face-to-face information hub in our community, which is an opportunity for people to come out, obviously socially distance and obviously COVID measures, but the idea is to give people that community feel again and get them offline as well, but also to provide employment support and training as well, a bit different from the job centre, a bit more tailored, finding out exactly where people want to go with their life and their career and find their passion to really help them sort of develop personal development goals and maps and all that. So it's an interesting project. We're hoping to start very, very shortly, and working with particularly hard to reach groups is our focus. We're hoping also to resume our community activities, and at the moment being funded by the Mayor's Office to deliver a new Mums Power project, which is about preventing radicalisation in our community, but looking more about the structures of family and particularly support that mums are given, and really focusing on family rather than actually the young person themselves, but the whole structure. So it's an exciting program that we're currently going through with our partners, Creative Spaces London. Just going to nip through all this. And we've done community events where we've done awards even. This is obviously taken before the pandemic. And we had the Mayor of London come along. But the idea is that we celebrate sort of volunteer achievement and recognition. It's the key, although people don't volunteer for that, but we like to bring people together and really celebrate and forge new relationships, friendships, and really sort of educate our local community about volunteering opportunities. And then obviously we have a youth action team, a bit more, obviously doing more things before the pandemic, but during the pandemic really helped us raise money for our food bank operations. We raised around £50,000 to really support our local community. And this is thanks to some of our young people who really went out there and did videos online or social media to really help us draw a lot of income in to help us pay for the food, etc. So young people have been doing things outside, sort of during the pandemic as well as outside the pandemic. And here are the brief plans for our community gardens. So we're developing a new garden in the area. I just thought I'd touch upon it. And it'll be based by Cranford Community College. And you have outdoor theatre, you have a food area, a play area, and an exceptional little nice space for people to come along and really enjoy themselves. So we're just in a situation now, planning permission. We've got some funding from the council, but also through the big local and another partners. So we're hoping this will be coming very soon in 2022, next spring. So which is fantastic. And we asked our community to come back with comments of what they think about our organisation. And the biggest one that they feel is volunteering, the feeling of being part of something, family, happiness. So that's who we are a little bit. You go on our website, which is hestonwest.org, as you'll get a lot of information about what we do. How long do I have left, guys? A minute or two, or less, or nothing?
No, you got about 10 minutes.
Really? That's amazing. Okay, so so I'll give you a little flavour of what we have done. And also some of the partners here today on this call have been quite instrumental in our success. So we've got like Shanji on this call right now, who works for the Sunshine of Hounslow, who we've done a lot of work with, and she's been quite amazing for us. We had sort of Rogers here as well with the youth club. He really helped us get going with our youth engagement back in 2016. We've got Mukesh here as well, who's been a fantastic support to our organisation, and obviously David at our barn I can see there as well, who's been very helpful and getting things going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a small video. This is one of our recent cleanup days. What I think I'd do, I'll put it in the link box if you don't mind, because I think it works better if you play it on your own computer. So just give me a moment. I'll put it in the link box. And I think the answer to your question, I just saw the question, was it Sarah? Yes, the activities are free. They are free. Yes, they are free. Because they're funded by the big local or other sources. And what we do, so here's the first video, it's about a minute or so. And what we try to do, guys, is although the projects are focused on residents living in Heston West, we open our arms to everybody anyway, to be honest. It's a very inclusive organisation. So wherever you are in Hounslow or on the border, you're always welcome to come along and join us, because we really believe in connecting people together rather than having an isolated area of all the activities. So here's one of our cleanup days we did back in October. So yep, you can have a watch this one.
I think there's an issue when you share a video with the sound. You have to make sure you click share sound when you share.
Yeah. So what I did, guys, is I put the link in the chat box. Just play it on your own browser.
All right.
Yeah, I know. Because if I take off the sound, it'll take off the video, I believe, or something. I tried it before and it doesn't work. But yeah, if you guys play it yourself, guys, it's about 1 minute 50 seconds. I have a watch. I'll just play it here without the sound, so you guys can play it as well. So yeah. So that's one of our sort of first videos. I hope you enjoyed it. And we do, from the videos you can see, work with everybody, try to be very fully inclusive as well. There are a few more videos, but if you log onto the YouTube in your own spare time, you can see the things that we have done and enjoy those content. And if you've got your own organizations, which I can see here, if you want to get involved and collaborate and work or either do things to promote your own services and want to link up with our young people, we're always happy to do things together and make content together. I think the idea really is for our young people is to ensure that they're giving a full understanding of their own community and other opportunities around. So that's why we're always been fully on and making sure that we work collaboratively with other groups in our area and beyond. So yeah, any questions? That'd be grand. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Taz. Anybody got any questions?
Yes, Taz, well done.
Oh, thank you, Shanti.
From the age of 30, your achievement is age of 50 already. So well done. I mean, you have engaged so many people, so many organizations you have set up. We are one of them as well. So I'm really happy and proud of you working really hard. And your achievement is really brilliant, honestly. You have done so much work for the community, you know.
Well, thank you, Shanti. And I think for Shanti's project, she's done things on the community allotments and stuff in the area. So do check it out, and she's been great support as well. But I think we've got a question here from Lisa. Lisa, that would be amazing. I guess that we can collaborate on that project. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's sorry, I've got a bit of background noise, so I'll put myself back on mute. That's why I direct messaged you. But yeah, that's what I want to try and do. That's what I'm doing, basically. So that'll be fantastic. Shall I put my email address in?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. And I do apologize, guys, if I was talking super fast. I'm just trying to get everything done under like a certain time limit I was given. So if you do go on the website, you will see more information, or yeah, you can call me up. Yeah, any more questions?
So with your community garden, is that space that the council's given you specifically then?
No, so with the community garden, it's given to us via the college. So it's with Cranford Community College, but they don't use the land at all. It's on the side of their school, but they own it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a lease of the land, which is initially like a 25-year lease, and for free. So they're giving it to us for free, and then we're able to sort of develop a community garden that will have access at all times for people to come in. Yeah, it'll be one of our sort of lasting legacies on the program. And also hopefully create volunteering and employment opportunities as well at the cafe, and be inclusive. So have open for people in different groups, like disability groups, other groups, elderly groups, and it'd be seasonal because of the weather. It'd be mainly operational, we believe, from like March onwards till end of October, November, because it is outdoors. Although there'll be a few like gazebos, the permanent gazebo style for indoor things, but really it'd be seasonal for that time.
Okay, thanks, Taz. Any more questions for Taz?
It's brilliant work you're doing there, Taz.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, and I think that, you know, before I finish off, it'd be great to sort of collaborate, and I know quite a few of you have done before, and we're all open to that. So, and I think working with all groups is very key to make it fully inclusive. And intergenerational has been our success. So I think our success has come down to family approach. Even people who are lived by themselves or the elderly, inviting them into that sort of vibe. During the pandemic, it was challenging, but the food bank program that we did, which I haven't had a chance to sort of show you the video, but I'll put it in the link, so in your spare time. We did things regarding the food bank for the actual whole pandemic. So I'll put it in the chat box now. And that's where we really linked up with people from different backgrounds, but also lots of volunteers who wasn't engaged before, and also struggled with English, or English as a second or third language, but really wanted to volunteer. So this was like the initial platform for them to get involved, like helping out, picking, packing, and delivering to our residents. But if you watch the documentary, as you can see it, and it's really awesome to see how a disaster like the pandemic really actually did bring people together in a positive way. So there were some positives in a disastrous time. So that's over and out from me.
Okay, thanks, Taz. I'll circulate your presentation to everybody.
Thank you so much.
We're now going to go over to Samantha, who's going to talk about volunteering into employment. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Taz, that was really interesting. What you were talking about, it's a really great project and you're doing so much great work. I'm just really, really impressed with everything you're doing. Right, I'm going to be talking about using volunteering as a path into employment. Obviously, during the pandemic, a lot of people have were initially furloughed and maybe have gone on to lose their jobs. Young people haven't had the opportunities they might have had. We've certainly had quite a lot of people who had been employed at Heathrow in some form coming through to us and saying, I've worked at Heathrow for 20 plus years and now I'm not, and I don't quite know what to do with my life. So we've been looking with those people to find them some volunteering opportunities. So hang on. I'm going to share my screen and do that one. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Great. So that's me. My colleague Parul, I tend to cover Ealing, and my colleague Parul, who's also here, she covers Hounslow. So together we're covering both boroughs that the Volunteer Centre covers. We're hosted or integrated into the Ealing and Hounslow CVS. So that's where you'll find us. So a lot of people think it's really obvious what volunteering is, but then I get some questions from people and I go, well, no, that's not really what we do. So it's freely giving your time to help others, and the organisations you can volunteer for are charities, community groups and statutory organisations like the council. We get a lot of people saying, can you find me some work experience? So we can't offer roles in private businesses or profit-making companies. We don't do work placements. But I think some of the other people that are speaking today are the route to that. And this is an overview of why you might want to volunteer to enhance your career prospects. But obviously it's going to help you develop some skills. It looks good on your CV. It shows you're motivated by more than money. It can be a way to influence your career choice. You might do some volunteering and think, oh, actually, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life as a job. It opens up challenges and opportunities. It certainly helps people build up confidence, particularly perhaps if you've been out of work for a long time and your self-esteem might have got quite low. So it can help you feel better about yourself. Meet new people, could go on to be your friends for life. You're making a difference in the community. You're finding out more about your community and finding out how diverse it is. And I know Ealing and Hounslow are two of the most diverse London communities. And people are always a bit surprised, I know, in Ealing to go, oh, is it really? But it is. So it's always something that people are a bit surprised by. And finally, volunteering is fun as well. And I know a number of my colleagues have volunteered, and indeed some of us have started off volunteering and ended up in paid employment. So we are examples of how it can work. So in terms of developing skills, if you've been out of work for a long time, you might have done something in the past that you've suddenly realised you've forgotten how to do. Or if it's perhaps using software, the software's been updated and you don't know what it's like. So volunteering could be a way to find out about that. Equally helping you find out about something new that you've never done before. And obviously some of those skills that you're using in volunteering, they can transfer into paid employment. So things like time management, IT and project management, and your interpersonal skills and your communication skills are all things that you'll be able to pick up from volunteering. And if you're putting together a CV to say, oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing it volunteering, and it's something that I've enjoyed and I'm good at. And you may even get given some training as well. So it certainly adds value to a CV, particularly if you haven't got a lot of work experience. And perhaps one thing it does show is that if you've been out of work, you haven't spent all your time at home watching Game of Thrones, but you've been out and you've been doing something a bit more beneficial both to yourself and to the community. And that can really impress a potential employer. And it's going to show that, as I said before, it's going to show on your CV what you've learned and perhaps any challenges you faced during your volunteering, and you'll be able to talk about those obstacles and how you overcame them in any interviews you have. Can help you if you're deciding on a career. I think some of the things that Taz was talking about might be quite good for volunteers to say, oh yes, well, I was doing some filmmaking and that's made me think that that's a career I want to get into, or doing environmental projects and things like that. Can be an introduction. So volunteering can be an introduction to what you want to spend the rest of your life doing. Certainly introduce you to some people who work in that field so you can pick their brains. So it's really useful to find out, dip your toe perhaps into a career through volunteering and see if it's for you. It's going to help boost your confidence, and a lot of people who volunteer with us, volunteer through us, they say, oh, I was quite depressed, I'd been out of work, I hadn't been going out, and then we place them in a volunteering role and perhaps see them 3 months later and it's like meeting a different person. So they've become quite bubbly and outgoing and telling lots of stories about what they've done through their volunteering. So it's that not only enabling them to help other people, but it's encouraging the volunteer to meet new people, to push their comfort zone and see what their skill set is and if they can expand on that. And all of that's going to help build someone's confidence and give them a feeling that they can do better at interviews, going to give them something to talk about at job interviews. And even some people who've done volunteering that has eventually led to a job, they've continued to carry on with their volunteering even once they're employed. So that's great. It's going to so in terms of an interview, particularly I think for some younger people, if it's your first job or it's your first interview and you don't have a lot of examples of things that you can use from your work life to say, oh, I've done this and I've learned that. And volunteering can give you a really good way to answer that question. And you can use examples from your volunteering, say, oh, I learned this or I've experienced this. And also that dreaded question at interviews, what are your hobbies and interests? Again, if you can say, oh, I do this volunteering, that's going to show you as a much more rounded person than just say, oh, well, I watch a lot of telly. I've watched everything on Netflix during the pandemic and I need a job now. So it's a really good way of showing that you're a rounded human being. And it's been proven that volunteering does make you happier. It's very good for your mental health and well-being. It's going to mean you're getting out there, making a positive impact. It's going to make you feel more positive about yourself. It's got multiple benefits for mental health. It's going to help you reduce your stress, and a lot of connecting with other people means you're getting out of the house, you're getting involved in your local community. I've said you're experiencing the diversity around you, and that's going to be good and help you overcome any loneliness and depression you might have if you've been at home a long time due to being out of work. And I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the 5 ways to well-being, and giving your time in terms of volunteering is one of those ways to well-being. It can help you develop a professional network. So if somebody wants to work in the charitable sector, it can really help you meet new people, find out about their jobs. They'll be able to introduce you to other people. And it's quite an informal way of meeting new people. So you don't have to think, oh, I've got to wear suits and things like that. It's a much more informal, chatty, friendly way of meeting people. And some of the people that you might meet through volunteering, they can end up being a mentor for you, or could end up being a career advisor for you, perhaps through a lot of your life. So you could meet some really important people. I was out of work for quite a long time, and I started volunteering at Action Acton. and I ended up with my job because they knew that the job was coming up at the CVS and said it to me. So that networking for me gave me some experience to do what I do now, but it also meant that somebody was able to say to me, well, you're great at doing what you do in terms of volunteering for us. You could do it as a paid employer. And they made the introduction and did my reference for me, which was great. So that's just an overview of some of the reasons why you might want to volunteer, or your clients or people that you work with might want to volunteer. We run sessions, we're starting to run them, I think we're going to be running them monthly. The next one we're running is at the end of May, and when Ian sends around the slides and everything, I'll get him to include the Eventbrite link so people can book onto that through that. If you've got people that you think might benefit from some help around finding a volunteering role. And that's the contact details for me and my colleague Parole. And do get in touch with us if you've got any questions, or again, you think we can help anyone that you work with. We'd be delighted to help them. And that's all of my questions. Did anyone have any questions?
Samantha, thank you so much for that. This is Parole. You know
I know, I can recognise you.
I wanted that. No, I was just, it would be really helpful actually. Samantha and I are talking about trying to develop more workshops to help the community and the organisations. And one idea we had was how to put together a role description on the Volunteer Plus database that helps people, helps you fulfill your volunteer roles. And so we were going to sort of help teach about kind of what words to use. You know, it's not a job, so I'm using the word role, opportunity, but also what keywords you should be putting in, so that when people are going in to look for volunteering opportunities, your keywords come up. And if you could just put in the chat if this would be of any interest to any of you, because what you could then do with that information is you can then put it into your own little poster that you can then send out in an electronic newsletter. So I just saw one yes. If anybody else would be interested, then Samantha and I will pull together a little workshop for everyone.
And one of the things we do when we deliver that training is at the end, if there's been roles that people have come to us and said, oh, this would be good for somebody to build up their confidence, or perhaps somebody who's been out of work, we highlight and flag up those roles at the end of the training, so that those are the ones that people go, oh yes, that's definitely for me. So some of the things that have been around doing IT mentoring, we've been flagging those up as people using their skills again and keeping up to date in their IT, just so that they can then help a community group. It's a Hounslow project that Jane's running. So that's just something that people can use their IT to ensure they're keeping their skills up to date if they're not working.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Questions? Yeah, if there's no more questions, then I'll hand over to.
Yeah, sorry, I've got one more question. Sorry, I just thought about it. In terms of volunteering for, like, the younger generation, is there any way that you can link up with other award bodies, you know, like other things like sort of Duke of Edinburgh, those things? Because I know a lot of young people who got involved with our program were initially part of another program, you see, and then they were sort of joined forces, and then it became like almost a part of our program as a legacy from that program.
I think one of the things we're looking to do, I'm sure that you're aware that we're moving into the West Ealing Library when we eventually are in an office, not all working from home. And we're hoping to do volunteering opportunities there that are linked to the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme for young people. So we'd be taking on Duke of Edinburgh volunteers ourselves. But yes, we get a lot of young people saying, oh, we're looking for Duke of Edinburgh volunteering. So if people do have opportunities that they think would fit within that scheme, it would be great if they could let Parole and me know, because we'd really like to have a list of opportunities that we could say to people, oh yes, do this, because at the moment we encourage younger people to do their own research into groups that they'd like to work with. But if we also had like a starting point to advise them to talk to certain groups who would want them to volunteer as part of Duke of Edinburgh, that would be great. We'd love that.
Mukesh, you hand up?
Yeah, I've got my hand up. Just an item which may be interesting. Within our Rotary organisation, we have two younger groups, one called Interact and another one called for younger children. And that's a kind of pathway to joining Rotary. But there's lots of activities and you link up internationally as well as nationally. And it might be something you might want to have a look at, Taz. Just go onto the Rotary website and just type in Interact, and that tends to cover children, young adults, and there are Interact clubs both domestically, nationally, and internationally, and that might be a good way for some of the good work you're doing. You could share and build relationships, and also think about community as well. And we as Rotary Club of Hounslow would support that activity.
Thank you.
I'll look at that too. Right. For some reason, lots of people have put their hands up now. So Lisa, what did you want to?
I think Mukesh might have answered. So I'm a coach of a swimming club, and we have quite a lot of the children do Duke of Edinburgh. And they utilise so they volunteer with me and help coach as part of their D.A.V. And I really want them to try to encourage longevity in our sport and into being interactive in the club as well, rather than just swimming. I was wondering if there is a specific leadership program that I can follow in the club, or there's children at the club and young people can follow.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, please, because I was going to say not that I'm aware of, so you can answer the question.
Okay, for young people, what our Rotary Club does is that we sponsor children during the year to do something called youth leadership, and it's called RILA, where they go away to an outward bound centre. And because of COVID, we've not done anything we won't do anything this year either, but we didn't do anything last year. But previous years, we've sent about 6 to 8 children away. We normally send out an invitation to the secondary schools in our area. So people from Heathlands have gone, Gumley have gone, and so on. So it all depends on the school and them wanting to participate. But the great thing is that they get to meet children not just from inner London, but also from the countryside, because our Rotary districts runs from Hounslow in the north all the way across to Caterham on one side, down to Brighton, and then across to Chichester, and then all the way back up again. So there's about 100 different organizations in there, but we organize this event annually, which young people go away for a long weekend, and it's absolutely free, but it helps them to start off this feeling of belonging and understanding, and also being exposed to different environments as well. But this is part of the larger program which Rotary does, and we did in Hounslow many years ago have smaller groups, but they just faded away. But maybe there's an opportunity for volunteers, because the volunteers themselves, if they're younger, they can also become part of that international organization, which provides a lot more opportunities. And Taz has been to our Rotary Club and presented about the work at Heston West. And ever since then, there's been at least 1 or 2 of us from our Rotary Club. Whenever he does an event, we come along and support them when they do their summer events. So just to kind of add that there is both a national and international flavor for the work we do. I hope that helps.
Okay. Thanks, Mukesh. I'm just aware of time, so I think we can wrap that item up, but it was a good discussion there. So now hand over to Karen, Amanda,
and can I have a question for just, I will take 1 minute.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, Thank you, Samantha, for this presentation, and thank you so much for answering all the questions which I sometimes email you. So my name is Rahila. I'm the founder of Organization Center for Human Development. My question is how we can support for women who have taken break from their careers, having 10 or 15 years experience, and now they are mothers and have taken break from their careers. How corporations or companies have we can develop some kind of programs for them so that career break can be so that it doesn't look visible on their CVs when they take those career breaks. Is there a way high quality volunteering roles can be developed for them?
Well, I'd like to think most of the roles that we promote are high quality. I think also there's a lot of stuff about transferable skills. If you are a woman who's taken a break to raise children, a lot about things about thinking about project management, your time management and things like that. Because when you're raising a child, you don't suddenly stop doing everything. It's that you are using a lot of those skills. And I think if you could start off doing volunteering, it's a way of sort of a softer entry back into work. So you can practice using those skills again in a sort of more of a workplace environment. So I would say that we do get quite a lot of women who have had a break, who start volunteering. And again, it's about building up their confidence. I've certainly had people who volunteered for me actually at the volunteer centre who've done my brokerage appointments for me. So that's when they're meeting people who want to find out more about volunteering. They're asking them about what they want to do. So they're asking quite in-depth questions, and then they're helping find them roles. So a lot of the people who volunteered in that just happen to have been women who've been having a career break. So I think there are opportunities out there for people, women who've had that career break.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. So I'm now going to hand over to Amanda, Karen and Anna from the Shore Trust.
Thank you. Anna's going to share her screen, but I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Karen. I'm here with Anna and Amanda. We work for Shore Trust. We are part of the integration team, and we work across the West London Alliance. Essentially, that is the boroughs. So, for example, for this purpose of this meeting, myself and Anna look after Ealing, and Amanda looks after Hounslow. So we've just come along. Thank you very much for having us. But we've come along to talk to you about two programs which we believe would benefit the participants and people that you might deal with within your areas. Thank you, Anna. So just to tell you just a very brief amount about Shore Trust. Shore Trust is a national charity that supports people to be the best that they can. We do this by providing employment, education and care services, advocating for those we support and strengthening communities. We help people with a variety of different needs, whether it be a disabled person, someone who is unemployed, or a young person in care. So Amanda is actually going to talk to you a little bit more about the work and health programme, and then we'll move on to Anna, who will talk to you about the JETS programme. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm Amanda, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the work and health programme. And this programme is aimed at for our participants who are facing a few more barriers to employability and often have been unemployed for 2 years. And the programme lasts for 15 months. So the Work and Health Programme is a voluntary employment support programme, and it's designed to help people with health conditions or longer term unemployed. We have got a slide, the next slide, which goes into a little bit more around some of the early entries. But we are looking here around disabilities as defined by the Equalities Act 2010. So there'll be a lot around mental health care and support that could be offered there. The key I guess, a hook of the work and health program would be around the dedicated support managers that can help them with the one-to-one support. So they will be linked to a dedicated support worker for the whole 15 months program, if that's how long they stay on the program. And that person will get to know the individual, begin to understand some of the barriers that they're facing, and during that program be able to navigate some of the complexities, if you like, because as we know, a person doesn't become unemployed for a long period of time for no reason, and often some of those barriers are quite complex, and often there's a multitude of barriers to unpick. So it's really looking at identifying what the basic needs are, and it often isn't employment in the first instance, as we know. It might be a addiction, a housing issue, a finance issue, a health issue, or a number of those issues that need assistance with first before we can move on to look at the objective of employment there. The dedicated in-work support help to navigate employment. So there will be, once the person does have the opportunity to move into employment, there will be support ongoing with that as well, because often that's where problems become apparent. And the uniqueness of Sure Trust is the network of specialist provision that is available. And just to give you a kind of a bit of a snapshot here, so lots of the provision that we have is through, as I mentioned earlier, like money management and personal budgeting, addiction and harm reduction. And we even have courses around creative writing, counselling, CBT, life coaching, and then the more everyday things that you would expect around employability, CVs, mock interviews, links with our employers. So it's looking, as I said before, it's looking at what the barriers are, how we can help around. I was listening earlier, so a lot around confidence, get my words out, confidence and motivation, breaking down those barriers and getting people into the best place possible so we can support and move them forward. Okay, can we have the next slide? And this is what, yeah, that one, please, Anna.
Sorry, I've got to figure out how to go back now. There you go.
So this is the slide that talks about eligibility. And it's very long, as you can see, but I'm not going to read it all out to you. But as you can see, so if someone has an underlying disability, as we talked about earlier, they would be eligible, but there's a lot of early entry criteria there. So it really is, what we've tried to do is look at people that are disadvantaged in the labour market and how we can support them. So there's a few that we could, victims of domestic violence, young person in a gang. So quite a lot of them, if people remember the troubled families agenda, a lot of them are ones that would have been highlighted through there, refugees, carers, drug and alcohol, which we've talked about earlier. So there's an awful lot of early entries there. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the JETS program now. So the Work and Health program has been running for some time through Sure Trust. The JETS program, which stands for Job Entry Targeted Support, has been set up in response to the pandemic. So it's a shorter, more light touch program than the main Work and Health program. And it was designed to help people who might have suddenly been made redundant or find themselves without work for the first time because of the pandemic, which lots of people are going through at the moment. So it's designed for people who have been in the benefit system, who have been on universal credit for at least 13 weeks. Lots of the people on the JETS program will be completely new to the benefit system. And it's just designed to kind of give light touch support in the form of once a fortnight meetings with a employment advisor, just about their employability skills. So we have access for our participants to a wide range of skills, which can be accessed through a portal that participants can access. There is training around employability skills, so things like CV writing, how to interview, how to do virtual interviews, and kind of cope with working from home, because lots of people are working from home at the moment, and with training around post-COVID environment, so keeping yourself safe at work and dealing with any issues that come up in relation to that. There is also self-employment support, so if someone has decided to move into self-employment because they have been made redundant from their main job and they've decided to go in a different direction, then we can offer self-employment support in the form of advice about how to register a business, how to handle employing people, and just kind of general advice and support around that. On the JETS program, we also have direct links with employers. So we have an employment team whose job it is to essentially source vacancies that are local, and then supply candidates from the JETS program into those vacancies. So an example of where this has been successful would be the NHS Max vaccination scheme. We on the JETS program were asked to supply lots of our participants to fill vaccinator and kind of steward roles, and that was a really good opportunity for our participants on JETS, because lots and lots of people found work through that scheme. So that's something that's quite typical of JETS. We often have strong links with local employers. There is also some financial support available to people on the JETS program. So it's based on the principle that nobody should be out of pocket because they're looking for work. So if someone needs childcare while they go to an interview, that's something that JETS can support with. If they need clothes for an interview because they don't have any smart clothes, if they need help with transport, anything that's related to them getting into work and they would normally be out of pocket, that's something that JETS can support with. And lots of our participants have made use of that. So the eligibility for JETS, the main criteria, I'm just going to get all of these bullet points up on the screen. Oops, not too far. Sorry about that. The main criteria for JETS is they need to have been receiving universal credit or job seekers allowance for 13 weeks. The reason for that is because there is some funding made available. We really want to be catching the people who are struggling to get back into work. So they need to have been sort of in the system for a little while, if you like. So that's kind of the main criteria around JETS. It also needs to be somebody who needs light touch support. So if somebody has a more complex issue or a health condition that's presenting a barrier to getting back into work, we would refer them to the work and health program, essentially, which is the program that Amanda's just talked about. And these two programs sort of work alongside each other. And we do sometimes have situations where someone comes in for the JETS program, but actually they need a little bit more in-depth support. It's not just that their employability needs to be improved, it's they have a health condition or some other more complex barrier. So they'll be sent to the work and health program instead. We do also ask that participants are engaged and want to get back into work. If someone doesn't attend their first meeting, for example, then we wouldn't put them on the program, because it's a partnership for that 6 months that they're on the JETS program, where they work with their employment advisor to get back into work. So so those are the main eligibility criteria, and I'll just move on to some information about referrals now.
So there are various routes to be referred to the employment programs. The participants can be referred via the job centre, through a partner or an organisation such as the Borough of Housing Department or adult care teams, or they can self-refer. And we've got some contact details on here, which is the general email, but we've also got our own contact details here, because as the integration team, we're basically available for anybody to speak to about these programs if they wanted to get a little bit more information before they either make a referral or refer themselves. And our contact details are on the slide below. Does anybody have any questions for any of us?
Hi, my name's Roxana. I'm a social prescriber in Ealing. So it is really good with all this information. I've got a couple of patients that I'm working with, have obviously employability issues. It's more the health needs and things like that. So if we wanted to, let's say, make a referral from us, is there any way that we can that be created?
What's your organisation, sorry?
So I'm a social prescriber. So this is a new role from NHS. It's a 5-year program. We work with patients in GP surgeries with social needs.
Right. Okay.
So there's about 6 of us in Ealing. So for example, if I say with food banks, we've got our direct referral pathway that we have access, and we can create our own vouchers because we're linked to the organisation. So is there anyone that can, let's say, how it'd make it easier for us just to send a direct referral across?
Okay, so that might be something that we can pick up with you separately about, Roxana, because I think we probably need a wider conversation really than the time will allow. But if you if you want to contact one of us, then we can pick that up with you individually, and then we can maybe have a chat about what the best route for them to enter the program is.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
I'll just pop our contact details in the chat, so you have an email address.
Thanks, Anna.
Were there any other questions?
Hello, it's David from Our Barn Community. I'm just wondering what the uptake is on a service like this, because it seems like you're very well equipped and ready for hard work. What is the uptake in Hounslow? What you know, I hate to say it, but we've been kind of down the road, and I want to know that the road is a trustworthy one. It's strong. It's working. Yeah, it's probably a loaded question, but what is the uptake?
Hi, David. It's Amanda here. I've actually come across your services and what you offer, because I've been speaking to Maddie in Hounslow.
Good.
And it looks great. Now, in answer to your question, you're going to have to bear with us here, because most of us, including myself and Karen, only actually started. We started in February.
Yeah, I thought so.
And we've actually asked those questions, so we are gathering at the moment. So I'm really sorry. I know it's a bit of a handoff when we haven't got the information.
I just hadn't recognised any of your names, and I thought, because I've been working with some other people, and it just didn't work out, if I'd be completely honest with you guys. So I'm hoping for good things.
Well, and we hope to put that right for you. And our job role is new as well. So it's an integration liaison officer, and without taking up too much time, the idea is that we're that pin, if you like, between the Shore Trust services and the local authorities, looking at joining up the dots. So where I've been working with the Economic Development Unit, Maddie and Alexander at Hounslow, trying to find out what they're already doing, what provisions they're already linked with, but actually, rather than just knowing that you're there, how can we support? Because I mean, I had a look at your website. I know you're working with 18 to 24-year-olds mainly. I know your project's not necessarily part, but actually, how can we pick up referrals, and are they the appropriate referrals, and what will Shore Trust do with those individuals? So, love to separately. You'll get my contact details. Have a conversation.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's not gone so well in the past, but let's see what we can do.
I'm well aware that we've got the future ahead of us, but I just want to know that actually everybody in this group, please refer people to the Shore Trust and get it going. Yeah,
that's it, because it's there, and it's got all this package of services, and actually probably in answer to your question, it's probably not being utilized enough by the correct people, but I don't have that finer detail for you.
Just to add to that, I'm only speaking for JETS here, not Work and Health Programme, but when it was set up, it was originally set up so we could only get referrals through the job centre. And it's now been opened up so people can self-refer, or they can come through us, the integration team, and we can do sort of an internal referral. So yeah, it's just about, we really need to kind of let people know that the support is available, and we do have the capacity for quite a large scale of delivery, you know, in terms of just the number of employment advisors that are on each borough team. That yeah, the capacity for kind of quite large scale engagement is there.
Yeah,
good,
absolutely.
good to hear. Thank you.
I have one question, in fact, not even a question, but just a statement. I was always thinking about employment has always been an issue, but with the COVID hitting us, unemployment due to COVID and people, you know, suddenly finding themselves unemployed has been another huge, as a big an issue as the unemployment that we were already dealing with. The JET scheme sounds and looks amazing. Thank you for bringing it, and wish you all three all the best and lots of referrals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Shore Trust? I'll circulate the presentation anyway to people afterwards.
Thank
the contact
you.
details.
Thanks very much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation.
One more, sorry, Ian,
okay.
one more error in the present in the invitation that I went out to everybody. It wasn't from WLEC. They are the Shore Trust. My error. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for attending today's session. Yeah, well, invitations will go out for next week. And yeah, I'll send out the slides from the session and also link to a recording. And hope to see you next week. Thanks.
Ian, would you like to send out the link for the survey today? If you could just stay back for a second, I'll post the link on the chat.
I mean, I can send it to people afterwards anyway. So.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Ian. Bye-bye.
Well, we're seeing you at 2:30, Ian, today.
Yeah, yes, I'm doing a little funding update. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll see you at 2:30 then.
Thank you.